So I got new glasses and I like them, but I think the only downside is that now it's even more clear how badly I do my eyeliner. We're just gonna roll with it though. I got tagged 3 times by separate people and for separate tags. And the thing is, I don't like doing tags, and it has nothing to do with the tags themselves. I think I just have really bad answers for them, and I don't think I would be very entertaining. But because I like the booktubers that did tag me, I feel compelled to actually do this shit. Sorry in advance for just boring content, but I think if you are already subscribed to me, you're kind of like, you already know what the deal is. I'm gonna combine 2 of the tags because I feel like my answers for these are not sufficient enough for like a single video, and then I'll leave the 3rd tag as like a separate video. The 2 tags that I'm combining are the Wizarding World about me and the Pray for the Wicked tag. The one that I'll make a separate video about is the No Disclaimers tag because I feel like we're gonna get into some shit over there and I feel like I'm not ready for that yet. I'll start out with the Wizarding World, which was tagged by Superpal. That poor girl didn't know that I was the worst person to tag because I've never read Harry Potter. So I barely know anything about the Wizarding World. You'll see by the quality of my answers. So let's begin. First question, you've received your Hogwarts letter and you're off to go shopping at Diagon Alley. See, I don't even know how to pronounce these fucking names. Okay, let's go. Tell us about your wand. It's a stick? Yeah, that's all I got. There's differences between wands? I don't fucking know. I don't know this stuff. It's a stick. I point at it and it goes pew pew. Wait, that's Star Wars. See, this is a whole mess already. Question 2, do you bring a pet with you to Hogwarts? If so, what? I guess this is like a basic bitch answer, but I think I would choose a dragon, and it's only for practical reasons. Maybe this dragon could turn into like a tiny lizard, so they can still be like transportable in my pocket. I can still bring it into buildings without violating any codes or whatever, but if I need like a quick ride to someplace, they can turn into a dragon and I can just ride on them and be off on my merry way. I know that you can fly in Hogwarts, but I feel like if I were a student there, I would just be the worst student ever and I wouldn't even know how to fly. Like I would be one of those students that probably shouldn't even have been accepted there. Like they did a mix up with my letter and now I'm stuck there. I think a plane just crossed by my apartment, which is very fitting now that we're talking about flying. Maybe it's like mocking me at the irony. Yeah, a dragon would be very practical for me. Number 3, you've arrived at Hogwarts. Which houses do you belong to? I am somewhat familiar with the houses. I didn't feel like I could relate to any of these 4 houses because they were primarily described by good qualities and I have none. The closest thing that I thought I could be was Gryffindor because I thought, yeah, you know, I could be brave when the situation calls for it. I can be courageous sometimes. Well, see, this is where like the logic falls. But the point is, I thought I was Gryffindor for a while until the conversation was brought up. I had mentioned that I was a Gryffindor and my friend was like, no, you're not. Dude, you're a Slytherin. And I was like, no, I'm a Gryffindor. And he was like, no, dude, just take the quiz. You're a Slytherin. I was like, okay, we'll fucking see about that. I took the quiz and I got Slytherin. So I was pretty shook that day, not gonna lie. But then I thought about everything that I am as a person, and then that just made way more sense to me. Long story short, I'm a Slytherin. Number 4, do you try out for your house Quidditch team? If so, for what position? I would never try out for sports, ever. Not in this world, not in any fantasy world. No. Number 5, 3rd year rolls around and it's time to enroll in electives. Pick at least 2 options: ancient runes, arithmancy, care of magical creatures, divination, and muggle studies. What the fuck are all of these? Ancient runes sounds like a lot of history and archaeology. I would be really bad at that. I would be bad at all of these subjects. Let's look up arithmancy because I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that it has something to do with math, if I remember my Latin roots correctly. In modern numerological terminology, see, this is boring already. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Divination, the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by supernatural means. Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, I guess I'll go for divination. Number 6, some time passes, now you've taken your OWLs. Which classes do you continue to study? Your options include the electives you selected in the previous question and the core Hogwarts classes, which are astronomy, charms, defense against the dark arts, herbology, history of magic, potions, and transfiguration. This is already too many choices for me. Potions sounds like a lot of chemistry. I'm very bad at that. I'm bad at like all subjects in school. This is why it's so hard. It would be easier if I was like good at anything, but I'm not. Astronomy, I took that class in college. I got like a C or something. No. I guess I'll choose defense against the dark arts. I feel like that would be the most practical for me. I don't think I would be very good at it, but it's still good to know defense anyway, especially if the other kids at school are gonna beat me up because they realize that I'm so bad at everything. Number 7, it's time to leave Hogwarts and make your way in the wider wizarding world. What do you do from here? I think I would just try to live a normal life. I wouldn't get involved in all of the bullshit that Harry Potter gets involved in. That's just too much. I'm not a main character. I'm not a hero. I don't exhibit any of those qualities. So I think I'm just gonna lay low. I'm probably gonna fail all my classes and then be sent back to the Muggle world. That's realistically what's gonna happen. That's pretty much it for the Harry Potter tag. Nailed that one. Let's move on to Pray for the Wicked. At least I know this one. I actually like Panic at the Disco. I didn't like his new one as much as Death of the Bachelor, but this one still has some jams. I was tagged by Crescent Moon Reads. If you don't know her, you've probably been living under a rock because I see her comments literally everywhere. It's kind of crazy to me because I'm sure she knows so many other booktubers and yet she picked me somehow. Again, I just feel so sorry for these girls who have picked me. They deserve better. The first song is Silver Lining, a book you didn't expect to like but loved. And for that, I'm gonna choose a really boring answer. It's not even fiction, it's Crucial Conversations. I read this book about a month or two ago, and if you just look at the cover, you can tell that it looks pretty boring. It looks pretty much like a textbook. I think that's why I was surprised that I liked it so much. I ended up giving it 5 stars because I still thought that it was a very insightful read. I thought that it was super useful for communicating in relationships and also in the workplace. It tells you how to be a better communicator, and it breaks down all of these guiding points to follow to have a very productive conversation even when emotions are high. And so that's something that I'm trying to get better at. Obviously, I'm not doing it here on YouTube, but in real life, I'm trying to be better at communicating my needs, especially in the workplace, especially if I'm having like conversations about getting a promotion or whatever, or if someone's being a dumbass, but I have to be diplomatic about it. I thought it was really useful. I think it's not just a book about communication, but also just having emotional intelligence. I think it encouraged me to think more deeply about the way that I express myself and how I can do that better. Again, obviously not on YouTube because I'm a mess on there, but in real life, I try to keep my shit together. So I do think that if you are interested in being a better communicator, whether it's in your relationships or at your workplace, this would be a good book to pick up. Not an exciting answer, I know, but it is what it is. The second song is Saturday Night, which is a book that you were thankful was over. I'm gonna go with Warstorm. Let the series die. Third song is Hey Look Ma, I Made It, a book you felt accomplished for finishing. So I'm gonna go with Warstorm again because 1, I finished the whole series. Thank God. And the only reason why I went through the whole series was because I had already devoted the time into it, and now it felt like a waste if I just dropped it completely. The more I went into the series, the less I cared about it, but also the more time was invested into it. And that's why I'm glad that I was done reading it, and that's why I'm glad it's over. Another part to the answer is that I had picked up the book when I was stuck on an airplane for 8 hours, and the book was over 600 pages long, I believe. So I was able to finish it in pretty much 5 hours. And so I felt pretty accomplished for that. In any other circumstance, if I had picked up the book and tried to read it on my own, it probably would have taken me like a whole month to get through that book just because it's so long and I didn't care for it. But because I was on the plane, I could really feel more immersed into the world and just get through the whole thing. Let It Die, Rest in Peace, Goodbye. The next song is High Hopes, and the prompt for that is a book you had high hopes for but fell flat. I'm gonna go with The Circle by Dave Eggers. So this is a dystopian novel about a girl who gets hired to work at an internet company, and the company is basically kind of like Google and Facebook combined. They have like a whole campus for it. They have really nice benefits, as you would expect from a big tech company. And I was really excited to read it because I like dystopian novels. I also work in tech. One of our clients is actually with Google, so I'm very familiar with this realm. And I thought that there would be a lot for me to relate to. However, I was very, very disappointed by it. There's a movie adaptation for this with Emma Watson and John Boyega. If you see the trailer, it looks just as bad as the book was. I just thought that there was a lot of potential in the synopsis, but then it just fell really flat. And the main problem with it is that it didn't have any nuance. It was very clear to me that the author didn't do any actual research about what it's like to work at a company like that, and then he just went by on assumptions of like, oh, you never get any privacy. Oh, the internet is awful all the time. When really there's a lot of nuance to the conversation. a lot of the points that he tried to put forward in the book were just portrayed as really long monologues that the characters would say. And it was very clear that like, oh, this is the message that he wants you to get. But it's so unrealistic for a character to just go on a soapbox and just go on this whole tangent. It's just not realistic. All the characters were really dumb too. They were all caricatures. I didn't like any of them. The main girl was really stupid. FYI, if you write a dystopian book, don't make the main character stupid. It's just, we're trying to survive here, okay? Just be smart about it. Next song is Roaring Twenties, a book that makes you feel nostalgic. I'm gonna go with the Lunar Chronicles for that. That series was how I got into reading so avidly in the first place. The author took a lot of influences from Sailor Moon to write this series, so I think that does help with the nostalgia as well. I think it's a feel-good story, so when I think about it, I'm just like, yeah, that was some good shit. The next song is Dancing's Not a Crime, and the prompts for that is a book that BookTube makes you feel is a crime for loving/hating. I'm gonna go with Harry Potter because I've never read it, but everyone, you know, just jizzes all over the place for it. I appreciate the cultural impact that the series has, but I just never really got into it. I tried reading the first book when I was in middle school, and I just wasn't really feeling it. And to be fair, I had different book preferences when I was younger. I didn't read any books back then because I was really picky with them. My brain works in weird ways where when I read a book, I don't imagine what's going on. A lot of people are visual readers, but for me, when I read a book, I analyze like the writing instead. That's why I tend to not read like middle grade books, but people kind of lose their shit if you don't like Harry Potter. And I don't dislike it, it's just not for me. The next song is One of the Drunks, which is a book you got drunk on that left you in a book hangover. So this is gonna be a presumptuous answer, but I am in the middle of reading Crooked Kingdom as of filming this, and I'm pretty sure that after I read it, it's gonna be a lot to deal with. I think the reason why I'm reading kind of slow with this book is because I don't want to let it go. There's not really another series or book that is like Six of Crows in terms of the characters and the plot and the writing and the relationships. And so it's tough for me to let that go. And I know that when I finish it, I'm just gonna like lie in my bed and be like, oh my God, what the fuck was that? Six of Crows, man. Next song is The Overpass, and the prompts for that is a book that deals with a difficult subject matter. So for that, I'm gonna go with Death and Oral History by Casey Jarman. This seems like a suitable answer because the book is basically a series of essays about death. The author interviews a variety of people, so that ranges from funeral counselors to songwriters that used to sing about Christian songs, but now they're an atheist and now they gotta deal with like what death means without religion. He also interviewed a girl who had her mother pass away just last week before the interview. I wouldn't say it's a heavy book, but I do think that it's provocative in the sense that it really does make you confront with death and the various perspectives and interpretations that we have of it. And it's always really difficult to talk about because people deal with it in different ways. I also recommended this book to Crescent Moon Reads. So again, very fitting answer. If you like thinking about death for whatever reason, or if you just want to sit down and just think about life and existentialism, I would recommend this book. The next song is King of the Clouds, your go-to book to lift you up when you're feeling down. I don't know if I have like any feel-good book exactly. I think fiction in general helps me feel better because of the escapism part, so a fantasy book would be nice in that sense. I guess I would go with Scarlet. The Lunar Chronicles is not particularly deep, but it's a nice feel-good story, and Scarlet is my favorite book from that series. Second to last song is Old Fashioned, your favorite book published before the year 2000. I started reading like 2 years ago. I'm very late to the game, and now I only read like more modern books that have been recently published. I think the only book that I had enjoyed before the year 2000 must have been like one of the books that we were required to read in school, and even then I didn't read the required books. However, I do remember liking Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and again, like I said before, when I was a kid, I was much pickier with books because I judged them based on the writing style only. And so I didn't like majority of the books, but I did really like Ray Bradbury's writing style for that specific book. Then the last song is Dying in LA, same. And the prompt for that is a book that you love that is underhyped. I made a whole video about it. Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray, along with her sequel, Defy the Worlds. That's some good shit right there, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody is, because everybody just falls asleep whenever there's a relationship that's healthy. Now I've gotten 2 tags out of the way. Thank you to Superpow and Crescent Moon Reads for tagging me. You guys are really sweet. That's why I was doing this. I did it for you, okay? Maybe I should spread the labor a little bit and tag other people, but I'm trying to be strategic in who I should tag because I'm gonna do no disclaimers book tag next, and there are some specific people where I know they're gonna bring in the tea, so I wanna reserve tagging those people. I'm gonna go with Yogi with a book. She's done a lot more tags than I have. She's way better at it than I am. I'm gonna tag Majority Marginalized as payback for tagging me in no disclaimers. I'm gonna tag Katy's book Nook. I'm gonna tag the other Katy for Katy's Cuddly book world. So those 2 people, I mean all of them are gonna be better at I am with this tag. And yeah, if you guys are watching this and you're wondering which tag I'm talking about that you're being tagged in, God, how many times can I say tag? You guys just feel free to do the Harry Potter tag or the Pray for the Wicked tag. I don't care which one you do, I'm gonna watch it either way. And for those of you who do talk regularly with me and are wondering why you're not tagged, I'm just saving you for later, so watch out. I think those are the only tags that I have been tagged in, but if for some reason I was mentioned anywhere in another video, let me know, because sometimes things just slip through the cracks and I might not notice it. I don't know if this was entertaining or not, but that's what you get. I have 2 off of my plate. I only have 1 more to go, unless I get tagged some more. We'll see about that. Bye.